So, I'm going to be making a little bit different video today. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to go over my top 10 figures of Godzilla that I own in my collection currently and why. So, this is going to be interesting. It was a little tough to narrow a lot of them down, and because I do have quite a few actual figures of Godzilla in my collection at this point. But let's get started, and we'll start out, obviously, with number 10. So number 10 is kind of funny. It's going to be the bootleg 1984 Godzilla, just because I think this thing is kind of hilarious at how bad it's painted and how messed up its legs were when it's being cast. But in all honesty, it's kind of great because this thing is actually better detailed looking than the NECA Godzilla 1984, and this is just a bootleg ripoff figure, but I don't know, I just really enjoy it, and that's why it's going to be my number 10. For number 9, it's going to be the Hyper Hobby Glitter Godzilla, the 2001 GMK mold. I just really like how kind of unique this one is, being the kind of like a brownish translucent with the golden highlights and the glitter in it. I always just found this really amusing and entertaining, and it's pretty rare, so I'm glad that I actually was able to snatch one for a relatively reasonable price. I'm sad that I didn't get a tag with it, but you can't win every battle. But that's going to be why this one's number 9. For number 8, I'm gonna go with the Monster Arts Godzilla 2001. This is gonna be my number 8, just because this was my first new Monster Arts, basically, one that I actually got to pre-order. It was pretty exciting when I saw the initial pre-orders for it go up a year ago in the winter, whenever that was, because there was a couple leaks of what it was gonna be, obviously, and I ended up getting my pre-order in on eBay 2 days before the actual pre-orders went live on actual commercial sites, so I was just, I was excited, to say the least. For number 7, it's going to be the theater-exclusive Godzilla 2003. He's got the yellow on the front of him and the cyan highlights on the spines. This is my number 7, because I love the way this figure looks. I love the painting. This is one of my favorite suits, and this was during a time last year when I really started getting into using eBay for a lot of my figure purchases, where I could save a bunch of money as long as I just was patient and I waited for that right auction to go up. And this is one of the ones that I got a really good deal on, and when I got it, I was just really, really excited. I ended up having to pick it up from my parents' house, and it was in my car all day when I was at work, and I was just eager to get out of work that day so I could play around with this thing. But that's why this is my number 7. Number 6 is going to be the Marmot Entertainment Earth painted Millennium Godzilla 2000. I just love the way this thing looks. It was kind of my first step outside of the more suit accurate kind of bounds that I was putting myself into, and that was kind of hard to enjoy collecting when you were so narrowly focused on a certain type of item. But when I saw this, I was kind of just like, you know what? I love the way this thing looks, how stylized it is, and how it kind of really captures that dragon-like appearance that Godzilla 2000 had. So I went ahead and ordered one of these. I ended up getting this one as opposed to the brighter one with the orange spines. I don't know, I liked the way this one looked, and it was exciting to have kind of my first Marmot step out of the traditional Bandai experience. This was cool, and that's why it's coming into this spot. Now we're going to be getting into the top 5, so we're really counting it down now. And with that top 5, first spot, actually going to go with the Atomic Breath shooting Godzilla 2014. I picked this because this was actually my first Godzilla 2014 figure. I was just at home at my house in the summer, waiting, kind of waiting around for the day, May 14th, I think it was, when the movie actually came out. And my parents came home from somewhere, and they actually just got this wherever they were for me, and just gave it to me that day, just for no particular reason. And I was pretty happy. I mean, it was my first 2014 figure, and I didn't even have to buy it. And I love the gimmick on this thing. It's just so ridiculous and silly. And I don't know, I play with it all the time. I hadn't actually used it in quite a while until I was grabbing it for this video and accidentally set it off, and this never gets old. You just gotta love how ridiculous that is. But that's why this one's in my 5th spot. Number 4 is going to be the Toho Kaiju series, Godzilla 54. And this particular one is my number 4 because this is actually the first Godzilla figure that I ever really got. That was a really long time ago too. I must have been like 6 or something. I can't even remember. But all I do remember is my parents got me this, and then the Bandai Mechagodzilla 2 for like Easter, an Easter kind of like present kind of thing. I don't know if that's a thing that people usually do, but that happened, and I was really excited. Unfortunately, this is the only figure that I got with a tag that I don't have the tag with anymore. I don't know what happened to it. I must have lost it. I have the figure for I have the tag for the Mechagodzilla 2 I got with this, but I don't know what happened to this one. It kind of bums me out knowing it's my first one and I don't have the tag for it, but it's still here and it's surviving, so I guess that's enough for me. But that's why this one's number 4. Number 3 is going to be the NES Godzilla by NECA, and the reason this one's number 3 is because when I first saw this go up online, I knew that it was kind of crazy and awkward looking, but I loved the way that it just looked, because I wasn't afraid, to get like stylized things anymore or whatever. And I don't know, I just thought the way it was so goofy and different was intriguing. And I was going to buy it, and what actually ended up happening was I was just about to go off to college for the first time, and my dad ended up giving me a really, really hard time about wanting to buy a Godzilla figure right before I started up college, basically saying that it was a waste of money and blah blah blah, what are you doing, and stuff like that. And it actually ended up really hurting my feelings, because I don't know, it was just weird how bad it kind of made me feel, and I don't really know why. I mean, I understand where he was coming from, so I didn't get this. And then what ended up actually happening was my girlfriend kind of realized how bad I felt about not being able to get it or whatever, and then she ended up getting it for me as a Christmas gift that year. So that actually ended up meaning a lot to me, and it became a lot more special because she knew how sad I was about not, being able to get it in the first place, and she ended up getting it for me for Christmas. So that was really nice of her, and that's why this one's going to be my number 3. Number 2 is going to be the Toho Kaiju series, Godzilla 2000. This one is the OG, not the new one that just got released, or the Memorial Box one. And the reason this is my number 2 is because I ended up getting this at my first G-Fest I went to, and I bought it off of not like one of the big table sellers like that are actually all the big online sellers like Clawmark and things like that. This was actually a guy who just had a relatively small table and had a few odds and ends, and this was actually one of the few Godzilla things he actually had. And I'm pretty sure he had it for about $30. He had the tag with it. It wasn't attached anymore. It was really dusty, and you could tell it was just sitting out for a really long time. And the table right behind me, which was one of the big name sellers, had the same, figure tag attached, not dusty, for $25. And I ended up haggling this guy down to $20 instead, just, pointing out, like, hey, the table right behind you has got the same thing, clean, with the tag attached for, $5 less, and he ended up giving it to me for $20, and he threw in the Bandai Exillion for free, so I ended up getting my Exillion for free. Not that it's worth much more than that anyways, so that was kind of cool. That ended up talking him down $10 and getting a free item off of it, so that one's kind of made me feel good, so that's why this is my number 2. And 2000 is my favorite suit, if you didn't know that, so always a bonus. And for my number 1 pick, I went with my X Plus Godzilla 2003. I don't really have a video with this featured in it yet, so some of you guys might not even know I have this, but the reason that this is my number 1 is because the 2002/2003 suit is like my second favorite suit, and this was my first X Plus Godzilla, not my first X Plus in general, but first Godzilla, and I absolutely love the work that X Plus does. This thing looks incredible, to say the least, and there's just not really any way to put their work into words other than they nailed it. I mean, I don't know. I love this thing, and actually ended up getting this on the first day that Shin Godzilla was in theaters in the United States. Because I was supposed to get it the day before, but I don't really know what happened with the shipping and all. So I ended up, driving an hour or so with my girlfriend and my friend to go see Shin Godzilla. And I got a notification while I was at the theater that this actually arrived where I was living. So after I saw the movie, I got to go home and open this up out of the box then. There we go, there is one video that it is in. It's in my Shin Godzilla review, standing on my bed in the background, so might have seen it before. But, I don't know, it was exciting in a couple different ways that I got it on the day that Shin Godzilla came out in the United States, plus it was my first X Plus Godzilla, so, I don't know, it was kind of just an overall pretty awesome experience, and I just love the way this thing looks. But, that's been my top 10. Let me know what you guys think if you actually ended up watching this all the way through, and, let me know what your guys' favorite figure in your collection is if you got one. But I'll see you in the next one.